Yo, what is going on, everybody? It is D-Man coming back at it again with another YouTube video, and today we're going to be talking about, are the Titans done in free agency, or are they going to make a couple more moves, or are they going to make one more move? Who knows? At this point, we still have some money to spend. I'm not going to lie, guys. I think we have around $12 million, and obviously you got to put $5 million aside for the draft, so I think you have to think that we still have at least one move to be made. But I think there's a couple of guys out there that intrigued me a little bit for a 1-year contract. Because as of right now, the Titans are in win now mode. We can't wait. If we are going to win a Super Bowl in the next 10 years, it's going to be in the next 2 years. That's where I'm at, because we've got so much talent on this team. We cannot let it go to waste. We have to be in win now mode, and for us to win a if someone were to tell me today that the Titans will win a Super Bowl in the next 20 years, I'll go ahead and say it'll probably be in the next 2 years. Because after these next 2 years, next year you're gonna have to pay AJ Brown. It takes up a lot of cap space. And you see what happened this year. A lot of guys were lost. A lot of guys were lost that obviously hurt me. I'm sure it hurt a bunch of you guys that are Titans fans out there. Just because of all the talent we had, and we just wasted it last year with the defense. It's just so frustrating that we have such a good. I'm not gonna say but we still have a great offense, but it's gonna be a lot different now. But we had such a great offense last year. And the defense was just horrid. It was terrible. If you just put a somewhat decent defense on the field last year, I'm telling you guys, we could have been a very dangerous team in the playoffs. You guys saw what we did 2 years ago, all the way to the AFC Championship. Had a chance to win that one, couldn't do it. Last year, it was just so frustrating watching the offense have to score up to 40 points a game for us to go ahead and win some games. Defense was just absolutely terrible. And we did go ahead and try and fix that this year by signing Bud Dupree, but I think we signed him for a little bit too much. We'll go ahead and get into that here, but we're going to go ahead and start off. Breon Borders, we brought him back. I like that pickup. We do need some cornerbacks. So, you got Janoris Jenkins, Breon Borders. You also got Christian Fulton. I think we can sign one more cornerback and draft another cornerback, in my opinion. I think the one position you still need at this point. I think you're going to get a good wide receiver in the draft. So you can either pick up a wide receiver. The two positions, the draft, you definitely have to go after a wide receiver first round. Second round, go after a cornerback. That's just my my thinking process, because you've got to get a solid 2 wide receiver. Josh Reynolds isn't that guy. I don't think he's going to be a solid, number 2 wide receiver. I don't know, he could be, but I just think you got to go after another wide receiver in the draft just for that solid number 2 receiver. You can also pick up another guy, and I don't think there's many free agent wide receivers that are you could call them number 2 wide receivers. So I think you definitely got to draft a wide receiver in the first round, unless a talent, a very, very good cornerback falls to you at 22. I've even heard people say Titans may trade up in this draft, which is kind of interesting. But if you're going to trade up, I don't like trading up for Waddle. I don't. If he falls to you, take him. I don't think he's going to fall, but I don't like trading up for a guy that's coming off of injury. That's just a big risk. That's just a big risk, in my opinion. If we trade up for Devontae Smith, Jamar Chase, that's a different story. We're going to have to be giving up a lot for that, but it is possible. But I'd be fine with a Bateman. I'd be fine with Elijah Moore, someone of that caliber that'll fit the team scheme well. Also, we'll go ahead and talk about these transactions that happened this offseason. I think y'all let me know down below what grade you guys give the Titans and all their moves they made. What grade would you give J-Rob after all these moves that he has done this offseason? I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna give him around a B- or B, because some stuff was good, some stuff was bad. I think we overpaid for Bud Dupree, just in my opinion, because he had a stacked front seven in Pittsburgh, and I think he's still going to have a stacked front seven in Tennessee. But I just don't see him being worth that much money, especially with him coming off of an injury like that. But anyway, bring back Breon Borders. I like that a lot. Need to pick up another wide receiver. In my opinion, I think if we're going to go ahead and go after one player in free agency, I think we still go after a cornerback. There's a couple of very big names. I shouldn't say very big, but you got a Richard Sherman out there. I like Brian Poole. There's some other guys that are still, free agents that I somewhat like. So we're gonna keep going here. Malcolm Butler, Kenny Vaccaro released. Got to clear up some cap space there. I think that Kenny Vaccaro can easily be replaced. I like this kid a lot. His name's Amani Hooker. I'm sure you guys know who that is. He's going to be filling that role for Kenny Vaccaro, and I think he's going to be A-okay if we can get some pass rush this year. I think the regression from the secondary is because of the lack of pass rush we had this past season. And I think Amani Hooker can do just as much as Kenny Vaccaro can, and maybe even more. So I'm A-okay with Kenny Vaccaro being released. That did save us a good bit of cash there that we went ahead and spent on a couple of new guys coming in. Malcolm Butler was a big loss. He's now an Arizona Cardinal. In my opinion, that was one of our biggest losses, but it did save a lot of money. So, again, I think we definitely downgraded at cornerback. I like Malcolm Butler a lot, but maybe not very slightly downgraded at cornerback because Adoree Jackson, he's a very solid player, but he really didn't see the field last year. But I think if he was even on the field, it wouldn't have mattered because the pass rush was terrible. But I think this year, if we have a solid pass rush, if we can just get to the quarterback a few times a game, I think that we will be A-okay in the secondary because we just didn't have the quarterback had all day in the pocket to throw against us. I mean, Deshaun Watson, you guys see what he did to us both games. He went off. Every single game we played, the opposing team's quarterback went off. And it's just the lack of pass rush we had last year. I think we did fix that problem this year, and I think that was a big fix and a big priority J-Rob did consider going into this year's offseason. So I think he did make that correct fix there by signing Bud Dupree. We'll have to see how that works out. Again, I don't like how much we paid for him, but we'll just have to see how that turns out. Again, we still have a very, very good Jeffrey Simmons that he just gets double teamed and triple teamed because we have no one else. So I think that with the Bud Dupree signing, not only do we get Bud Dupree, but we also have Harold Landry on the other side. We also have Jeffrey Simmons. So I think this is going to open up the field a lot more for Jeffrey Simmons to go make some plays because there's going to be a lot of, Harold Landry on one side, Bud Dupree on the other, Jeffrey Simmons in the middle, and also Denico Autry is going to be the big guy in the middle, which I like a lot. So that front four right there, Bud Dupree, Harold Landry, Denico Autry, and Jeffrey Simmons, that's a scary front. I mean, Denico Autry had 7.5 sacks last year, I believe, as a defensive tackle, which is insane. That is ridiculous, having a defensive tackle have 7.5 sacks. I believe earlier in his career, maybe 3 seasons ago, he had like 9.5 sacks too, so he can do some damage. Definitely can do some damage, and I like that a lot. Again, takes off the pressure of Jeffrey Simmons having to go play well every game. Same with Harold Landry. They've got guys there that are going to draw more attention to them, and that's going to open up the field for Jeffrey Simmons. It's going to open up the field for Harold Landry as well. Keep on going here. Released Adoree Jackson. Released. We signed Kendall Lamb too, who I think is a solid tackle. That's obviously going to replace the. You know who it's going to replace, guys. I can't even stand him. I don't even want to talk about him. What a wasted pick last year. But obviously he's going to replace Isaiah Wilson at the tackle position. Probably one of the biggest busts in the Titans history. I think he is the biggest bust in Titans history. There's so many names out there that there's a lot of Titans that were busts. But I'm telling you, Isaiah Wilson, he went on the field for, what, 3 snaps? If you guys go watch the snaps that he's out on the field, I think it's a couple special teams. He gets ran over every single snap. It's hilarious. He sees the field just 3 times, 2 or 3 times, and he gets ran over every single snap. I shouldn't say every single. It's 3 snaps, but all those snaps, the 3 snaps he was in, he got ran over. It's just funny. But the other bust the Titans had, they actually played. I don't want to name any names, but you guys might know what I'm talking about. It's just crazy to me what he thinks he can do. But we ended up trading him to the Dolphins. We basically gave the Dolphins more just to get rid of Isaiah Wilson, and then Miami releases him about a week, maybe not even a week, maybe less than a week later, which is that's just hilarious, dude. But Kendall Lamb, I think, is going to be a great tackle for us. Again, we got a great O-line there. Ben Jones, a great leader there up front. Got Saffold, got Lawan returning off the ACL tear. We'll have to see how that works out. We also have a rising talent in Nate Davis, who I think is one of the best young guards in the NFL, and then also have Kendall Lamb come along to help out the line. I think that's like an A. I would give the line grade an A minus, because we have some. I think Lawan, before his injury, was definitely one of the best tackles in the game. Saffold, one of the best run blocking guards in the game. He just blocked for 2K. The whole line just blocked for a 2K yard rusher. So you got to give him credit where credit's due, and I do believe a lot of that's on the O-line, and they did a great job this year. But adding Kendall Lamb to the team also does help. So yeah, I did like that pickup. Anthony Ferkser and Geoff Swaim, 1-year deal. This is basically Johnny Smith is basically them put together. Again, Johnny Smith was a big loss, but I think Ferkser will fill in that role okay. I think we go ahead and pick up a tight end later in the draft, just to be a solid. Maybe we steal someone in later in the draft. Just to kind of maybe replace Johnny. But I do like Ferkser. I like Ferkser. I like Swaim. Swaim's more of a run blocker. Ferkser's more of a vertical threat. He's going to go out there, run routes and stuff like that. But Johnny Smith was both of them put together. I think Johnny was a vertical threat. He could run routes great run blocker. But Ferkser, rather than a good run block, he's okay run blocker, I guess. But again, he's more of a receiving tight end, and Swaim is more of that. Grit your teeth, he's going to go block someone for you. So I do like those two guys. But the difference there is Johnny Smith was in most of the time. And when the defense saw that Johnny Smith was in the game, they didn't know if we were going to pass it. They didn't know if we were going to run it. So that was the good thing about having Johnny Smith. Now this year, if Ferkser's in the game, Titans probably going to pass it, because Ferkser is more of that receiving tight end. And then if they see Swaim in the game, they're probably going to be thinking, it's going to be a run, because this dude doesn't really go and he does go catch balls, but I mean, when he's in the game, more than likely going to be a run. So that's a bad thing about losing Johnny, but I still think those two guys are solid re-signings there. So March 13th, again, we talked about Danico Autry, Morgan Cox. I think this is going to help out Gostkowski this year. We did lose Bo Brinkley last year. That was a big loss to be honest. Guys, the special team stuff, it's not just the kicker's fault. It's got a lot to do with everything. So Morgan Cox is one of the, it's funny, but not gonna lie, guys, he's probably one of the best long snappers in the NFL. You can't really look up stats on that. I mean, they just get their job done and get out the way. But again, I don't know but he's one of the best long snappers in the game. So if we could just, good long snapper, good holder, and Brett Kern, great punter too. And then if we can just get those kicks to go through the uprights, that's just do your job on special teams. I do think this is going to benefit us a little bit next year. I don't think it's going to be a big difference, but hopefully Gostkowski can put it to the uprights next year. Did struggle a bit last year. Don't know if this was a big problem, the long snapper, but hey, if it was and we fixed it, good for us. But we just need to see those kicks go through the upright. Also, we signed Kevin Johnson, another cornerback that I think, it's just an pickup, because not a really big name, but he's solid, I guess. But again, Kevin Johnson, Janoris Jenkins, Breon Borders, and also Christian Fulton right now is our cornerbacks. So I mean, that's not a bad group to have when you also have that great front seven. So if they could just get their the job done up front, I think the cornerbacks won't have to worry a lot. Won't have to worry too much, rather than they did last year, because they had to cover for so long. So eventually, people are going to get open when you have 5-10 seconds in the pocket to throw. So we hopefully next year we get some pass rush, and hopefully we can get to the quarterback and get more sacks than we did this year, because I believe we were the second to last. Man, I think we were the last in the NFL in total sacks. So if we can just get some pass rush next year, I think the cornerbacks won't have to worry about doing obviously they need to do their job, but again, they won't have to cover for as long as they did last year. Again, we got a lot of newcomers too, so really the only guy that's returning is Breon Borders, who played most of the year. Again, Christian Fulton was injured for a good chunk of last year, but again, hopefully our front seven can do their job and get a good bit more sacks than they did last year. But again, this defense is going to look completely different. Like Kevin Byard, Jeffrey Simmons, Jayon Brown, Rashaan Evans, Breon Borders, Christian Fulton. Those are the pretty much. It's kind of crazy how much guys we lost. I guess you could say also Amani Hooker too. It's kind of crazy. You got 5, 6, 7 guys that are returning from last year. Our defense is going to look completely different. That front seven, that whole offensive or defensive line is well, I guess Harold Landry too. My bad. But you got Bud Dupree and Nico Autry. Those two new names. Cornerback core is completely different. So again, Adore's gone. Malcolm Butler's gone. Those are the two guys we had last year. Now we got Jenkins. We got Kevin Johnson. We got, those are the two new guys. So we released 2 cornerbacks. Got 2 cornerbacks. But defensively next year, we just got to do our job and get to the quarterback and take the stress off the cornerbacks next year. If we can do that, I think we'll be A-okay, because I think the offense is going to be, it's not going to be like last year, in my opinion. I think we're going to go. We had a great it's just so frustrating. I hate talking about how good our offense was last year, and just knowing that we could have done something special last year, but the defense was just horrid. It was terrible. I hate talking about. I just hate it. Jonnu Smith, Corey Davis, and A.J. Brown on the same team. Man, I feel like this is going to be one of those things where it's like Oklahoma City Thunder and that big three they had there. And they split up, and then you got, they're in. I'm not saying that Jonnu Smith, Corey Davis is going to be MVP, but they're going to be really good. So we're going to look back on this year and look at it as a waste, because we just couldn't get the job done on defense. We had to score 40 points a game, and when you have an offense scoring 40 points a game in the NFL, that's pretty impressive. The defense doesn't even have to be. They don't have to be good. They just have to be average, and we were just absolute garbage. So just a frustrating year last year. Again, it's just very frustrating. I hate to think about it, but finally, last but not least, we picked up Josh Reynolds, and I like Josh Reynolds a lot. Not as a number 2 receiver, like I said. I think he's more of a number 3 receiver. So if we can go after a solid guy in the draft, got to draft a wide receiver, Elijah Moore, Bateman, someone like that. I think we are going to be A-okay there, wide receiver wise. And then again, we also picked up a special teams guy, the Ola Adeniyi. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but we picked him up, and it's pretty much he's a special teams guy, so nothing really too special there, but we will take it. Again, I want to talk about some stuff here. I'm going to go over the free agency tracker, and I do want to talk about, or we can talk about the healthiest ways to wipe your butt. If y'all want to do that. These ads, guys, it's crazy. But again, let's go ahead and talk about some positions that we could go ahead and pick. I think we do have about 5, 6, 7 mil left to spend. So I wouldn't mind picking up a cheap corner here, for cheap. Cheap corner for cheap. Yeah, cheap corner. So what I'm looking at here, these are all the guys that are signed. But if you scroll down here, these are the guys that haven't gotten signed yet. Let's see. So, okay, so to be determined. So where you see the to be determined here, these are the guys that haven't been signed yet. AJ Boye, I like him a lot. Casey Hayward, like him a lot. Richard Sherman, like him a lot. Steven Nelson just got released. I like him a lot. DJ Hayden, not bad. Josh Norman, little old. Derrick Henry's son. Buster Screen, whatever you say, how you pronounce it, I don't know, but he's decent. McCourty, too old in my opinion. McCourty comes back to Tennessee. I mean, I don't know how to feel about that, but it'd be pretty cool to see McCourty back as a Titan. But he's a little old right now. I guess you could sign him to, if obviously it's a 1-year deal. I would think this would be a 1-year deal. Brian Poole, I like a lot. But I mean, then you go down the list, and I mean, no one really too special here. But I think you got a lot to choose from here if you are J-Rob. I think you go after one of these guys. In my opinion, you go after, a Boye, Hayward, Sherman, Steven Nelson, DJ Hayden. Norman, I guess, would be okay. He's a little old. Same with McCourty. Brian Poole. I would say out of Brian Poole, Steven Nelson, DJ Hayden, Richard Sherman, Casey Hayward, AJ Boye, I wouldn't mind any of them at all. I would assume one of these guys would sign for around $1 million. 1 year, about 5, 6, 7 mil. I think any of these guys could sign for that. Richard Sherman, maybe not. He might be asking for a little bit more. But, again, I like a lot of these guys, and I think if we pick one up, I would feel a lot more comfortable going into next year with a solid cornerback core and a solid front seven. And we got great safeties in Amani Hooker and Kevin Byard. I think the only reason Kevin Byard and Vaccaro regressed last year was because we had no pass rush. Year before that, we had solid pass rush. And Byard, I think, had a career high in picks that last season. Not last season, but the year before, where we made the deep playoff run into the AFC Championship. But yeah, if we can pick up one of these guys for cheap, I think we will be A-okay. I would feel a lot better about myself, and we also still have enough money to go ahead and go into the draft and sign whoever we need to sign there. So, yeah, guys, with that being said, that's going to do it. A little bit longer than I wanted to do this video for, but hey, it is what it is. Let's see what J-Rob has in store for us these next, couple days, couple weeks leading up to the draft. Who knows? We might make a move on draft night. Who knows? But yeah, with that being said, that is going to do it for the video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. And until next time, I'll see y'all.